Hello, welcome to AI in Action. My name is Maurie and I'm here with my husband Jim, and we are here to talk on Sunday evening about artificial intelligence. First of all, you like the sweatshirt?
I do. It says made in
It
Texas.
says made in Texas, but it's from the Capital Factory, which the last time I was down for an AI Alliance meeting, we ended up popping into the gift shop there at the Capital
Yes,
Factory.
just for descriptive
And-
purposes. It has a robot with a cowboy hat swinging a lasso.
Yeah.
It says made in
It
Texas.
says made in Texas, but I really liked it. It's a little oversized, but oh well, it's comfy. And we had gorgeous weather the last few days, and today it was chilly. So
Yes.
it's
so
Texas. It's Texas, it happens. But we are here to talk about artificial intelligence. We did not talk last Sunday about AI. We intended to.
But we collapsed.
We collapsed.
It was-
We had the tripod, we had all the stuff with us. We were just going to record from the hotel. We were at the TCEA conference, which was really kind of cool. I mean, we really enjoyed ourselves, but we put in over 10,000 steps a day, and my body was like, hot shower, bed, that's it. So, it's what happens. I can remember back in the 80s when we would go to shows, like the late 80s, early
So I
90s.
don't remember the 80s because we were barely alive in the 80s, right?
Yeah, right. No, I remember going into shows like up in Boston, or I think we went to some in Las Vegas. I know we went to some
We
in
went
San
to
Francisco.
Macworld in Boston. We went to Macworld San Francisco. Went to Comdex in Las Vegas.
We would laugh about it because, we would go to the show all day and then we'd go out afterwards
Yes.
and shut down the bar or whatever it was we were doing. We would, went
Dinner and drinks.
dinner and drinks every single night. And now it was like, I want a sandwich, a hot shower, bed. So, oh my goodness, those were the days. But
We did have a booth this time.
we did have a
This
booth.
is our first one. It's
Yes.
the first time we've had anything to do with the booth in a long time. Now, we did not man the booth most of the time.
No. We were there and we did several. Actually, I was really, really happy. And if my ladies are listening, which they say that they do, my AI trailblazers, Jessica, Bailey, and Allison, they were three that got to go. And they were so much fun. And they were I really enjoyed having them.
I think they went to every session there was,
I think
too.
it went to a ton of sessions. They actually came to some of our sessions, and they also were on a panel. Two of them were. Jessica and Bailey were on a panel discussion that had you, and it had Gloria, who is the president of the Leander School Board,
Mhm.
and it had Colleen, who is the executive director of LEAF, which is like a Leander Educational Foundation, where they give a lot of grants and things like
It
that.
was money from school.
They raise money for the school. They actually sponsored 8 of the Leander teachers to come to the TCEA conference.
I liked having them on the panel because it was a very interesting perspective. I mean, having the two teachers, which is the classroom perspective, you and I, me as a district administrator,
I ended up moderating because we only had 5 mics.
but having someone that gave the perspective, of what's going on financially with the school districts. And it even explained to us why the attendance was smaller this year, we think, quite a bit smaller, because Landers got almost 2,000 teachers.
Right.
And they probably didn't send a dozen teachers to the show because
funding is that, as a matter of fact, after the conference, Leander just announced a huge deficit in the budget. And I think they ended up having to cut. I think the news today was that they're going to have to cut 200
positions. Yes.
So, public education, and we're at the precipice right now. We are really
Hold on.
going to start.
Let's get to that in a minute. Let's talk. We'll talk about our booth for a minute.
Okay, let's talk about the booth.
First of all, we got to give a shout out to our booth. We had our partners at Ed Pro, which is, of course, our son-in-law and daughter.
And we also had possibly our future daughter-in-law, if things go as mama plans.
Anyway, our youngest son's love of his life, Katie, was there. And they were really good. What impressed me was how they were so eager to connect with people. I mean, they would reach out to pull people in, so to speak.
They did a good job.
They did a really good job. We had friendship bracelets, which I have one that Rachel made for me. It says AI engineer.
There you go.
And then we had 2 massively popular stuffed animals. I really didn't think either one of those were going to be that popular. I should have known that you guys would know these things.
I knew it, and we raffled them off.
We had people coming by like constantly. Have done the raffle. We've done the raffle. Done the raffle.
Well, the thing is, I got those there. I got a huge elephant because one of the things that we've always addressed, especially when we're doing professional development for 6th through 12th grade, is we always address the elephant in the room first. So I thought a huge elephant would be hilarious. And then I found an alligator, and the way that they ended up getting to enter into the raffle is I had 2 book covers. One of them was, pardon my French, Teachers Are Up to Their Ass in Alligators. And the other one is teachers have bigger fish to fry. And I was trying to decide what book cover I'm going to do for Tales from K-12 Classroom, how AI might be able to help. It's what I'm working on. So they had to vote. And if they wanted to share their story, they could. And I had several that shared some pretty funny stories. One of them I haven't really jumped into 100%, but I know I saw one about a stink bomb going off in a classroom.
Yeah, those are some interesting stories.
There were.
Anyway, that was our home base. That was the point I was making.
We went back and forth.
We went to sessions. We gave 3 sessions, counting the panel.
We did the panel, and then we did one on teachers have bigger fish to fry, where we just talked a lot about chronic absenteeism and student mental health and student apathy and teacher shortages, and how AI might be able to help with some of those national concerns, and how those concerns are really a ripple effect. You know, one leads to the other, that leads to the other, leads to the other. So that was a good session.
We also did one on
cyber,
but it was more about
cyberbullying.
Cyberbullying. I think it's what it's called, was cyberbullying. I think that was our most popular.
It did have a lot of people in there.
Not only had a lot of people, but they were very, very, I mean, at the panel, they were engaged, but we kind of had to pull them in a little bit. There was people like raising it. They wanted the microphone.
Right, when they wanted to ask questions.
They wanted to ask a lot of questions. They followed you out. They stayed, some of them stayed with me. Some of them followed you out the door. I mean, there was a lot of people.
The second one that we gave was actually, for me, one of the most interesting
That was the summer.
No. The second one we gave was bigger fish to fry.
No, I wasn't counting the panel. It was a session.
Oh, okay. But I went out because I don't remember why, but I went ahead and walked out ahead of you, and I had people that like stopped to talk to me. And I know I went out. I went out to video some people as they were walking out. And
I think that was the cyber one you did that.
And so a lady came up to me and she was like, I just have to talk to you for a second. I was like,
oh,
okay.
yeah, that was our lady on the train.
It was the lady on the train. Because ever since you told me to take out the history it was like, you were like, Maurie, we don't need the history in there. It was a few days ahead of time. We poked fun at each other because of it. I took it out a few days ahead of time. We had to completely change the whole flow of the presentation, yada, yada, yada.
I know what you gave me hell about. Because it took you.
And then on the train, on the way back, we've said it in the podcast, the lady sat next to you and she made a comment about how she was disappointed that no one ever covers the history. And you blame me paying her. Well, ever since then, we've always put that in, but we've always had that in our presentations. It's like, okay, we're going to go ahead and cover the history.
Yes.
Because we had this situation with the lady on the train. Well, this year, she was like, oh my God, I was listening to your presentation and you kind of were joking about the lady on the train. And I realized that's where I knew y'all from. I was the lady sitting next to your husband on the train. And so
I think there's a picture on your
I got a picture with her. We had a great laugh over that. All people around us were laughing.
I asked her if she was going to fess up that you slipped her some cash, but she said she did not. At least she never fessed up to it.
Well, I mean, it was very sweet of her to catch me afterwards.
It was.
A lot of people catch me afterwards. I had one lady that I was very happy about because we were talking about the national concerns, and she actually came up and wanted to talk for a little bit because she had made a life choice just recently to go back to get like an additional degree and stuff. And she wanted to give me a hug because our presentation had kind of like reinforced her making that choice to go do that because of all those national concerns that are happening. And then I had a lady come up and talk to me for a long time that actually ended up kind of passing my name off to somebody else, which
can't say
what it was, but she passed my name off, and I got an email a couple of days later asking to do an interview. So I did an interview, and we'll see what happens.
Publication.
And if anything comes about,
It was a well-known publication.
we'll say it.
But you jumped ahead.
Oh, sorry.
You jumped way ahead, actually.
I'm sorry.
We're going to talk about.
Just script spirit.
Wait, this is not a script, but the beginning was important.
Okay.
Because the setup process, which was fascinating to me. You guys went down there on Saturday. Hold on. You guys went down there on Saturday. I didn't come down there. I got to dog sit. But anyway, you guys went down there. You got it all set up. Apparently, you got to know the people in the dock really well.
Nice people.
I know. And it was funny because when you and I went in, we just got there early. Wanted to go ahead and just walk by. And not only is it an opportunity to look at our own booth, but it's really cool because when you're in there like that, all the other vendors are there. They're all set up.
Oh my gosh,
So
what they have to do to set up those booths.
So we got to talk to a few of them, and that was cool. But what was funny is the lady that we had to go through the gates, the security gate at the loading dock, and she's like, "Oh, hey, how are you?" I mean, smile on her face. If you can imagine this scene, she's smiling, she's happy. "Hey, how are you? How are your kids?" Whatever she asked, really friendly. And then there's somebody that walks, like 3 guys walk in behind us, and she totally different. Face changed. They got in the wrong line. They weren't signing their own. I mean, she was just like, "You're supposed to be doing this. You're not doing this. You're not." And then she'd look back and you go, "Oh, have a nice day." She'd look back at them and she would frown again. And it was just funny because apparently they didn't make a good first impression.
It's amazing what a little bit of kindness will do.
That was the point, is that you were open and friendly. And I think people forget sometimes that those people work in the docks, work in the gates. They're people, they're doing their jobs just like everybody else.
She's from Laurel, Mississippi, which I really wanted to talk to her about living in Laurel because I've always wanted to go visit because it's one of my favorite home improvement shows.
She never go visit there.
But anyway, that's where she's from, Laurel, Mississippi, and a very nice lady. So yes, I made some new friends.
You made some new friends, and that was funny because of her. Just the demeanor shift was so. It was like one of those cartoons where they turn their face to the left and they're happy, and then they turn and completely changes, back and forth. It was interesting to watch. But I did make a few notes because I wanted to make sure we didn't forget everything. Some of the stuff we did see. We talked a little bit about the panel discussion and all of those stuff. I found presenting to be good for our self-esteem. Because sometimes we get so caught up in our daily stuff here.
Yeah.
And
my phone don't Wi-Fi. I can't get a printer to print.
We're like every other, we're an IT department, so we have to deal with those problems. But it's also, just because we do a lot of that stuff ourselves, it doesn't mean that adopting it in our school district has been smooth sailing.
It hasn't been easy.
It's been a lot of resistance. There's been a lot. The same thing everybody else is seeing, we're seeing too. So sometimes you get discouraged.
Very.
And you're like, you know what? Maybe nobody cares. Why am I doing this? And you go there, and people are following you out the door, and they're finding us while we're eating lunch, and they're saying, "I saw your sessions." One person actually said that our session was one of the best ones she'd been to. That's good for the ego.
It's good for the ego.
You need a little bit of a self-esteem boost. And I got to say, and I've said this before, it's even better when we go to Galveston. Teachers that go to conferences, their energy level, anyone who criticizes teachers and what they do, they need to go and see how much effort those teachers put into those conferences. They don't go there. I'm not saying they don't go out at night and go out to eat, maybe have a couple of drinks with their friends, but they're engaged.
Yes, they are looking for the next great thing.
Absolutely. They are talking, and they're not meeting the vendors, but when they're in the sessions, they're listening, they're taking notes, they're energetic in the hallways, they're talking to each other about what they're doing. They're making any. I like to see that level of energy, and it makes me feel better. So I liked hearing people telling us that. So we talked about our sessions a bit. We talked about the lady on the train, but I wanted to talk about walking the floor a little bit.
Okay.
It wasn't
a lot of AI stuff, but it wasn't what I was expecting.
Well, and some of what we saw was what we expected, which was last year we had analytics, security cameras, or the year before last. Now we have AI. There was a lot of people bolting on AI still. It's not, they're not really doing what I thought. There was a lot of stuff like Magic School, Copilot kind of things as well, where people talking about that. I I understand why people talk about. We talk about that stuff too, but I still think there's too much of that and not enough of why do I care? And I think we focus fairly heavily on that. We don't just focus on the you care because you can generate great lessons or whatever. We talk about it in a larger context. I think a lot of people miss that.
Yeah, they expect the AI. I mean, everyone is like, well, it's going to save time. It's going to save time. Let's use it for a lesson plan. Use it for an IEP. Use it for a.
But how many times do you say that?
But
I mean, after a
exactly.
while, you're like, okay, I got it. Now
Right.
what? Now,
Right.
I mean, you've told me that. Now what?
Right. And I think that's a problem is that a lot of people don't know what the now what means.
Well, we talk
And
about
I'm
this.
hoping that we do.
Well, what we talk about in our district is when we put out the first co-pilot before most of these people that are talking about them now even knew what it was. I mean, it was March of 2023 when we had our first co-pilot, chatbot kind of thing, and it didn't even come out at all until
Right.
November of 2022. So it's just a few months later, and we found it interesting, but not a lot of people that interested. So everyone has come out with that since then. But the reason we switched to our current implementation of the AI toolbox and our whole program is because I always said I don't want a product on the roadmap. I don't want an endpoint, single point product. And what most of these people have is an endpoint product. Now, some of them have a product that just expanded, but even then, it feels like they're still bolting it on. That's going to change over time. But for now, it still is either here, let me give you this great, prompting.
Or here, I'm going to grade a paper for you.
And even then, we know very well that the whole grading paper thing
It's not
is
that
kind of
easy.
iffy as to which papers it's going to grade. Probably not going to grade a calculus paper with it. So anyway, so we walk the floor, but I do that for Llano ISD every year. I think we've missed 1 year. We missed a couple of years ago. It was an ice storm. It was in San Antonio. It was an ice storm. Mostly, I want to find vendors that'll come to Llano. And that's hard to do. It's hard. We said that in stereo. It's hard to do because people act like we live 1,000 miles away. We really
But
don't.
why would I travel an hour and a half to get somewhere when I could go half an hour and get paid just as much money?
I get paid the same and I get home earlier, right?
Right. I mean, it's a problem that we always have.
And this year, I think, I don't know what your opinion is, it might have been smaller, but I had more luck finding vendors.
I think we found some good products.
We found some good products, but we also found some vendors. The products we were looking for was replacement stuff for things we already have, like we're trying to move away from projectors and stuff like that. But we're also looking for the next generation hardware that we're putting in our Trailblazer program. We're not just doing it for the Trailblazer. We want to expand it.
They're our pilot.
They're our pilot. I pilot everything. I always have. And so I found some very interesting tablets, which I really want the perfect setup for the teachers. And so we're really trying hard to find just the right, combination of hardware and software and things like that. And the teachers, you sicked them on those vendors.
Yeah, I did. I told them that, they would come to our booth or whatever to say hello or would catch them after a session. And they were like, is there anything? It was weird. They kind of expected me to give them almost a schedule of the sessions that I wanted them to go to. And I was like, no, I want you to go to what you need for your classroom. You need to go in with an open mind. So the only thing I'm asking you to do is to go around and try to find a tablet that you would be okay having it in your hand as you walk around your classroom. And so, yeah, no, they enjoyed it.
They came and grabbed me. I was taking one of my, luckily you put chairs in the booth. That was a good little stopover point for me to sit and have water, kind of chill.
Check your emails.
I was sitting there checking my emails. I was sitting there and Jessica, I think, now Jessica and Bailey both came up and they're like, you've got to see this. Drug me over to the Lenovo booth. And I had been in that booth earlier and they had not shown me. I asked specifically for this particular thing. So apparently the teachers asked better than I did.
Well, you're the tech director too. So they immediately assume that you've got the budget.
But they didn't show me what I wanted. Well, what they were trying to do was sell me on what they wanted to sell me,
Exactly.
not on what I wanted.
Exactly.
And when the teachers were there, they were less aggressive about it, and they showed the teacher exactly what I was looking for.
Hopefully, we
So
get something.
we did see lots and lots of AI. I wanted to mention that.
There was
Oh,
a
yeah.
content filter.
I wasn't going to get to that one yet. The other thing I was going to talk about is we were talking about the vendors that come to Lano, and I was curious if you agreed with me. I think they're starting to come back because we reconnected with a vendor I haven't seen in 10 years. And I think that maybe they're having a harder sell because we live in a state where the state legislatures hate public education. And at least it feels like that if you're a public education person.
Yes.
Maybe if I went and talked to one of them, they would disagree with me on that. As a matter of fact, I'm certainly would because they wouldn't want to say that on the camera. But I feel like maybe they're going, oof, yikes, we need to get out and expand these scopes and reconnect some of our other people. So I have this feeling that maybe some of them come start seeing us again. But the ones that were already out here before the state got even worse, those are the ones I'm going to be. They're always for me, as long as they're giving me the right pricing and good. They're always going to be first in line because they're not a fly by night. They're not going to be here today and gone tomorrow kind of thing when business gets better in the big cities. So, but I was so surprised at the quality of the people trying to get me to come on. Right. Now, Bill from Harper introduced me to one. It was a company called Bloom Technology. They look pretty good. And then, of course, we saw Juan from Intech Southwest.
It's been a long time.
I did business with Juan for 10 years. I was in the school. Right. We went away from HP, and he was kind of an HP.
Well, and what happened is he went from being the sales guy to being like the sales manager. And so
his replacement.
Yeah, his replacement was
a lot.
We also talked to Dell a little bit while we were there.
They had their trailer right.
We got to see David McGinnis, which we had not, we've seen David a few times, but we got to visit with him.
We've known David.
Jared.
We've known David for like 15 years.
Yes, we've known David for a long time.
He's the one who got Dell back into Lano ISD. When I first got there, for the first 10 years I was there almost, I only bought HP. And I told him, I kept telling Dell, I'm not interested. I'm happy with HP. David not only came in about the right time, but he was very determined.
Yeah.
And I was impressed. And he kept calling until he got promoted.
Yeah.
Way up the ladder.
Yeah.
But Dell had parked a tractor trailer in there that you walk through and had like a classroom setup. I didn't walk through it, did you?
No, I didn't.
But they were right close to us, so that was convenient.
Yeah.
But the Securely one, which is the one you were just going to mention, that was the one that I saw that was kind of interesting because I hadn't really thought about it. They do content filters. They've been trying to sell to us for a while. We use GoGuard.
Okay.
And I think
call next week with a demo for somebody else, though.
I think we mentioned this to GoGuardian before, but what Securely does, it appears, if I understood it correctly, is if a kid types in one of the big chatbot kind of things, the content filter will send them automatically to Securely AI, which is one that's more highly filtered for kids.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm guessing that it is theirs and they want to charge you like everybody else, the $4 or $5. But it's clever.
Yeah, it is.
Think about it because
But you can do that with Agnes, can't you?
I'm going to actually look at, I'm going to talk to GoGuardian. Agnes, to answer your question, yes, we could, as long because I can do the filtering in Agnes. That's one of the reasons we picked the particular chat AI that's built into the Agnes toolbox that we use. But so yes, we can do the filtering, and we plan to. But the forward thing, I might be able to do that even in the firewall and with GoGuardian.
So you're excited about that?
I'm kind of excited, and if GoGuardian can't do it, I might switch to Securely as long as they allow me to point it at mine or theirs, depending on which one I want, which in case I would want ours.
Right.
But I thought that was a very interesting product. I did talk to a lot of other companies, and I was just kind of thinking that everything else just felt like AI. It was kind of everywhere. But they're like, okay, we're doing something different. So anyway.
It's hard to find someone that's doing something different. I woid like to say that we are doing something different.
Of course we are.
And we had a lot of people that were really interested in what we are doing.
We were told we went out to dinner with a group of tech directors.
Yes.
And one of them, there was a vendor that was paying the bill.
Yes.
And we don't use the vendor. I've never even heard of them. But he said that our approach was the most unique he had seen in any school he had visited anywhere. And he's not from Texas.
Mhm.
That kind of pitted my ear too. That's nice. I like being, you know what? Because sometimes I wonder, am I really doing this right? Because I have this very tunnel vision problem where I get hyper focused on, I want to solve this the way I think it should be solved.
Right.
And then sometimes
Is it the right way?
Is it the right way? You know, and people are slow rolling AI so much that I feel like, well, maybe people don't want this. And you keep telling me, no, we're just ahead of the game,
Yeah, we are.
ahead of the curve. And he reads.
So a couple of other things. I don't know how much time we have left, but
We have a couple minutes.
okay. I just spent 10 hours on my Saturday off doing paperwork for the Google Accelerator program.
For the grant.
So for the grant. So that's, I mean, we've done small grants before through Atlanta ISD, you have, and so I don't know if you had help on that.
No, I've done larger grants. I've done $1 million grants, but I hire someone.
Right.
That's all E-rate stuff.
So
remember, I did E-rate once, and we lost money that year because I filled that paperwork wrong.
Yeah, you did. So this AI Ed Pro, we have actually set up AI Education Professionals Foundation, which is a nonprofit arm of AI Education Professionals.
It's a separate thing.
It's separate, but it's a spin off. Maybe I don't know how you
think the IRS lets you say it's just a foundation. It's something else we want to do.
Well,
because we can't do everything through a for-profit.
Dell has the Melinda and I mean Microsoft. The
Dell Foundation.
Yeah, Dell
they
has
have
the
Bill
Dell
and Melinda
Foundation.
Gates Foundation.
Bill and Melinda Foundation. So we have a foundation now.
I don't think you can put us in the same ballpark.
No, hang on.
Not Toronto.
I'm going to say that again. Bill and Melinda started the foundation, right?
That's the Bill
and
and Melinda Gates.
Dell started the foundation, and now Maurie and Jim are starting the foundation.
We didn't name it right though. We didn't call it the Maurie and Jim Foundation.
The Gemini.
The Gemini Foundation. Because people kept saying we should have named our company Gemini.
Gemini. Anyway, it has officially filled out paperwork. Don't know if anything's going to come out of it. Who knows? But we have done that. And that was all day Saturday. And it was.
It was a lot. If we didn't have AI, you probably would have never finished. We're going to run out of time. I wanted to cover a couple other things. I thought it was cool this week that we got invited to a conference you've been thinking about going to in San Diego in April.
Yes, it is.
You're balking at it because you're claiming it's a money thing, but you're still debating on. We don't have long to answer them, but you don't
have till the 13th.
No, we have till the 12th, and you don't necessarily want to get on a plane.
Yeah.
So anyway,
it is. We have been awarded an innovation thing. So they told me not to talk about it until like after the 18th. So I'm not going to say what it is, but
it's just a conference that we've been invited to speak at. We hope.
Right.
Also Tuesday we're going to something that you said.
Great. Well, it's the Austin AI Alliance. I'm a board member. Austin AI Alliance is doing the State of AI in Austin on Tuesday at the Central Austin Public Library. We have 2 different panels that are going to be there discussing artificial intelligence and how Austin, Texas, Central Texas could be a huge hub, because we have University of Texas, we have Texas State University, we have Hudson-Tillotson, we have a lot of universities.
Austin Community College.
A lot of universities in the Austin area. Plus, it's the capital, so we have a lot of legislative access.
What I want to know is, why would you invite me to go when you know I really don't like?
Well, the mayor pro tem is going to be there. There's going to be some more politicians.
Isn't that why you shouldn't want me there?
There's going to be some really great like AI researchers and stuff.
Oh, so you're going to push me off on them and keep me away from the legislatures?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's
you're
probably
going to listen to the research guys. That's
probably a smart.
And we're going to have AI Ed Pro's going to have a little table that we're going to be talking about our not just education development for K-12, but also small businesses
and our nonprofit
and the nonprofit and stuff. So
okay, another thing I wanted to cover. You didn't look at my shirt. My
No,
son-in-law gave me
if
this.
they're listening to the podcast, they can't see your
I know, but you got to
It
read it.
says come and tech it.
And it's
And it's
instead of the
USB,
Canon,
it's a USB key.
instead of the Canon, because it's usually you come and take it. It's got the Canon on it. It's got the star. This one has come and tech it. And it's got a USB drive as the Canon. That's really dorky, but I like it.
I am yawning. Oh my goodness. I hope no one watches this video because I'm sitting here yawning.
I'm supposed to tell people not to watch the video.
I'm yawning. It's
I don't know why you slept till lunch, but
I did.
We have to talk about I want to give a thumbs up to the restaurant. I really liked our restaurant.
Moonshine.
Did I get that name right? Moonshine?
Moonshine. It was right there
restaurant.
Across from the loading dock area. I ate there a few years ago and I thought it was really good. I think there was a vendor that did something.
I swear it's either an old house or maybe it was an old speakeasy because that's why they call it moonshine.
Maybe. Well, no, they serve moonshine.
I know, but they could have started
Quite a bit.
Maybe they started when moonshine was actually
really good too, by the way.
You didn't have moonshine.
No, I didn't. I had a margarita. It was really good.
Maybe there was moonshine in it. But the atmosphere was cool. Mm-hmm. The food was good.
The food was really good.
The service was fantastic.
That was great.
So if you go there and you're close to the convention center or that area, because they're going to tear down the convention center, Moonshine.
Last conference, there's going to be a
Moonshine restaurant. It was really good. So I wanted to make sure we called out them. And then the last thing I wanted to mention, because we are out of time, next year, it'll start being in San Antonio.
Yes, that was actually the last conference they were having at the convention center.
In Austin. They're tearing it down, which is crazy to me because these hotels are all depending on it and they're attached to it. And they're going to spend like 4 years building another one. I get it. It's going to be bigger, better whenever they get done.
Well, I think what I heard is because of parking. I think they're going underground for parking to where they can like have
convention parking as well, and not just.
Did they have convention center parking? But it fits like, I don't know, 10 cars.
Well, usually what they do is they get the people that have parking garages downtown area. Mm-hmm. They send you to those. Remember, because we had to go through those. We ended up parking the other side of the river. The thing I don't like about downtown Austin, which they're not going to fix, the Moonshine Grill was great.
Not
a lot of restaurants right there.
When you go to the Riverwalk, it is food.
Everywhere.
There's food everywhere. Mexican food, American food. I mean,
what's a little burger, like a sports bar last time we were there?
It was good. So we were there for calves.
I'm not looking forward to the fact that it's 2 hours instead of an hour and a half. My daughter and son-in-law rode the train in, as well as Katie. They rode the train in from Leander. Mm-hmm. All of that goes away. And if we have a booth, you're going to work the booth. You have to stand in the hotel. Not saying we'll have a booth. We don't know yet. But anyway.
It's going to be inconvenient, but I still do like some.
I'm looking forward to it just because it was so. When we went to that what was the convention?
It was the science conference.
It was the STAT conference.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, it's the CAS conference, but it's the STAT
360.
They're the ones that videoed us. Mm-hmm. We had an interview.
It's live now in the STAT studio.
That's the second year we've gotten it done. Mm-hmm. And the cameraman remembered us from last year. So
I don't know why. It's memorable or something.
I guess. Anyway, I did enjoy the conference overall. It was exhausting. But it kind of gave me that little boost I need to keep going. Mm-hmm. And to keep thinking that maybe we are doing the right thing.
Maybe we are. Anyway. My name is Maurie, and I'm here with my husband, Jim. It is Sunday. We are AI in action. We are the educator and the engineer.
You always call me that.
The beauty and the beast.
No, that's how you say it.
If you would like to talk to us, if you would like to have conversation with us, if you'd like to be on our podcast, please just reach out. It's info@aiedpro.com. And
please watch our YouTube videos. Give us a little thumbs up and stuff.
Oh my goodness. Yes, we're trying to grow our YouTube subscribership. So go ahead. It's AI Ed Pro. You can subscribe and like. We appreciate it. Sadie, come here.
We want people to subscribe to our stuff. We got to tell them about it.
I know. Well, Sadie has to come say hi. I think our dog would give us more subscribers.
I think she's camera shy. She's just laid back down.
You guys have a marvelous rest of the week.